Hey YouTube, I just want to shoot a video and talk about some of my successes because I sometimes forget how far or how many successes I've had, and I'm always focusing on the negative. I sucks. I was just shooting a video and then tried to pause it and then I lost it. But anyway, I just want to say that I've almost completely eliminated my pain. I still have flare-ups, but for the most part I'm pain-free. One thing that is really important, if it was the most important thing to me at the time, obviously it was wreaking havoc on everything, but the chronic pain that I dealt with for so long is a catalyst in my PTSD, and which really what holds me back from, I think, making it to the next levels that I want to be at. But I used to have intrusive thoughts about every worst thought you could ever imagine, ever. I went through like phases, I no longer have any intrusive thoughts other than, well, I have like constant negative ruminations about, about my depression, but it's just more or less focusing on me feeling poorly. But I don't have like the thoughts where I thought about jumping. I used to think about jumping out of the car while I was driving, or hurting people or hurting myself. All that stuff is gone. Got rid of all my intrusive, all those really bad, weird thoughts I used to have all the time. Gone. Depersonalization, pretty much gone. 90% gone. Sometimes I feel so tired I feel depersonalized, but and I remember how bad it used to be. I feel pretty clear. I feel pretty, for the most part, most days I feel pretty clear and connected. Sometimes you forget how bad it was, but and all that stuff I cleared up with books. At Last Alive was one of them. It wasn't medication, so I tried all these supplements and different meds, and then it was really when I started reading those books that stuff started going away. And even my bladder pain, I was trying all these meds the doctors would give me for pain and for urgency and antibiotics, and nothing ever helped until I read a book and figured out the truth. So for me, knowledge is power. Learning about it is power. And a lot of people are like, oh, don't self-diagnose yourself and all that. Yeah, that's true for some people, but the doctors told me I would never get better. That I had a irreversible chronic pain condition that would never get better. So I had to learn on my own, and thank God I did, because I got better regardless, outside of what the doctor said. And it turned out that it was all anxiety based. All my problems have always been anxiety based. I don't have health anxiety in the way that a lot of people do, where they obsess about a symptom and maybe it's a tumor or something like that. I've never had that. I always just, to me that would be better. I would rather have a diagnosis of something, and I don't fear death because I've been through hell, and there are things in life that are worse than death. To me, chronic depression, anxiety, chronic pain is worse than death, but it's not worth killing yourself because you can get better. And I'm living proof of that. So yeah, I hate the fact that, and I know all my symptoms are related to anxiety, which that knowledge and then applying a healthy lifestyle eradicated or attenuated most of my symptoms. Now, my lingering symptoms were depression and generalized anxiety, just constant fog, all that stuff. So, which was wreaking havoc on me, but when I started taking Lamictal, and this is partly what this video is, I've been asking y'all for your help. I'm gonna ask, I got some really good responses on my Lamictal question, and it seems like some people are like, yeah, take it. Some people are like, no, don't take it. First, I want to say that the serotonin, from what I understand, and I even read through the National Institute of Health, that serotonin is a myth. The monoamine, can't pronounce that word, monoamine. Anyway, the whole idea of neurotransmitter serotonin causing depression is a myth. It's been proven. It was a theory that's been disproven. So I'm not saying antidepressants don't work, but they often don't work much better than a placebo, and serotonin isn't responsible for depression, or 5-HTP would cure depression, and I've been taking 5-HTP and it doesn't work for me. It helps me sleep, but that's it. And also, it would work for everybody, and it would work instantly, because serotonin is boosted the first day you take it, and that's not the case. So there's lots of reasons you can read about it. It's pretty interesting stuff. This is like actual science that I've read from PubMed. You know, they've proven that it's not real. Not that they don't work, it's just they're not working by raising serotonin. So anyway, that's very interesting. Part of my problem is I always need to know what something's doing in my brain. Ever since the Xanax incident, I always wanted to know what something was doing. You know, what is causing what? What is this doing to me? So now I do a lot of research before I take anything. But I got back into a rut of supplementation and looking for that cure, and I came across some more information about anxiety, and this is where I'm getting at, is I don't really feel like I have your typical, like I told you, I don't get panic attacks either. I think I forgot to say that. Yeah, I don't have any panic attacks. Those are all gone. I have had 2 panic attacks in like 3 years. Once again, because of the book I read. All that stuff I was able to get over. And then running was a really good antidepressant and left me feeling really good at night, and I would be happy at night. But then about a month or 2 ago, the running just started making me feel worse. Like I would just feel more tired. And I came across a guy on YouTube, and I'm pretty interested, and I had my adrenals checked, and it shows that my cortisol is pretty much non-existent. So I'm in some stage of adrenal fatigue, and I know there's a lot of fake stuff out there, but whether it's adrenal fatigue or whatever you want to call it, my symptom now is based off chronic stress, physical and mental. I average 25 to 30,000 steps a day, and I'm constantly working, and in the summers working in the heat all the time. I just always felt like I've always felt like I have to be doing something. I have to be active. I hate laying down. I hate sitting down. So it's weird because I have not your typical anxiety. I don't have your typical depression, because I've talked to people who just don't have drive. They don't want to do anything. I wake up and think, I want to do stuff today. I want to go drive here and go to this store and just go to the mall. I have drive. I want to do things. I have motivation, inspiration. But then when I get up and I start driving, I feel so tired, instantly so tired. Dangerous. And I've been getting, it doesn't matter. I have some nights where I have decent sleep and I still feel the same way. And it's just crazy how tired. And I started realizing that's really the core of why I'm angry and irritable and anxious all the time, is because when you're that tired, you just feel like you can't do anything. It's not fun. You're dragging yourself everywhere. So I was maybe I should take some CNS depressants for anxiety, but then that made me worse. And I started realizing, because I've always focused on trying to suppress the nervous system, because that's how you typically quell anxiety. And I just don't feel like anxious. Like I enjoy talking to people. I can hold a conversation. I can meet new people. I never had that nervousness. Like I drove for Uber, and I had some little anxiety, but not terrible. So I don't have panic attacks. And then my depression, I have so much drive and desire and motivation to do things. I'm just so completely exhausted all the time. You know, and I've tried paleo. I probably should try it longer. But this adrenal fatigue thing kind of all fits. But like I don't really have like really deep like bags like they do, and gray skin, and maybe that's just because I lead a healthy lifestyle. I do fresh green juices and smoothies, and like I said, I go running, and then so I lead a healthy lifestyle, so maybe that's helping me a little bit. But I finally reached a plateau when I moved, and lots and lots of stress had piled up, and lots of stress. I went bankrupt, and I was dealing with that, and then I lost my grandmother, and then I moved 500 miles away from my comfort zone, where I was finally starting to feel like normal again. I was starting to do things again. So all that happened, and then I thought moving I would feel 1,000 times better being here, and then I felt 1,000 times worse. And it was just like I couldn't drag myself out of bed. I felt so sick, like the flu. I felt like pressure in my head, just lethargic, dizzy, just weak, achy. And it just hit me. And then like when I moved, my family started coming over and wanting to do things, and because I moved closer to home. And dude, it was like too much. And like my brother would spend the night, and like I was like, and then finally I started looking how I felt for the first time in ever, because everybody would always say, "Oh, you look good. You look really good. What are you doing?" And finally my brother saw me. He said, "Holy cow." He's like, "You look like shit." I started having the bags and it was just like, I was done, man. I was done. So I was like, oh, this is really bad anxiety. And then one night I took a Klonopin. I was like, let me try this Klonopin. I need to do something, because like I'm about to off myself. And the next morning, dude, I felt 10 times worse. I felt like I was angry, irritable, and I always thought worst case scenario, if I ever need a Klonopin, so I had it and I just never took it, I was gonna feel amazing. Like that was like the final fail safe. And when I took it and I felt worse, my brain was like, oh no, dude, like, what are you gonna do now? You're fucked. And a lot of that is like what medication does. It gives you that security that you have something to take to help you feel better. But anyway, it stopped working, or it didn't work, and then I started scrambling again. And then I started thinking, oh, my memory's really bad. It must be the Lamictal. I was on 50 milligrams a day. And I just started like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I gotta come off this. I gotta take something else. I gotta take a herb for memory. And then all of a sudden I was back to where I was all those years ago, back on my computer, just obsessing, looking for supplements and answers, right? Because I've had success before, and this isn't something that doctors have been able to help with outside of just telling me to take Lexapro. And I've been to like energy healers and naturopaths and priests, all kinds of stuff, and everybody has a different answer, right? It's like, oh, well, you have candida, or oh, you have an allergy probably, stop dairy, or oh, you have, you have mercury or metal toxicity, or everybody has a different answer. My doctor's like, "Oh, take Lexapro. Works great for me." I'm like, and then you go online and everybody has a different answer. And half the people do really well and half the people do really bad. Half the people have horrible side effects and it makes their brains explode, and half of them are like, I'm out living a life that I wish I always had. So it's very confusing, especially for someone going through anxiety and who's very analytical and desperate. So the one thing I've learned that is the truth above all truth in all these things is letting go. Letting go. And even a placebo is about letting go, because you think you're taking something that's going to help. You give it to God, you're giving it away. You're not thinking about it anymore. And I believe in God, and I've been trying to get my faith back. It's very hard to be that way when you're depressed and tired and anxious. But at the core of me, it tugs, and I feel that there's something else, something bigger. But so where am I at right now is I realize I have this adrenal fatigue because running used to be great for me, and now I can't do it. And like, I'll get a little bit of energy, like I'll try to rest, and then I'll go on a crazy run. Like, that was like the final straw. I was like, I'm starting to feel better. Like, I'm starting to feel better. Everything's feeling good. I'm feeling better. I'm like 20% better than I was last week. And then I went on a 5-mile run. And then the next day I woke up and I was like dead again. I was like, why is this happening, And then like when I try not to run, I'm even more depressed because I'm not getting that boost, I hate being inside. I hate watching TV. I hate playing video games. But I'm so incredibly tired that I shouldn't be out walking. So like, this guy on YouTube was like, dude, well, he wasn't talking to me directly, but he was talking about his experience. Tinkerbell. It's my dog, Tinkerbell. Hold on.
You sweet girl.
That's my grandma's dog. She gave her to me years ago. Anyway, he's like, one thing you need to do when you're tired is just rest. Regardless of what you think, you have to rest. And I'm like, that's the one thing I've never been able to do. I never want to do. I never want to sit still. I never want to rest. And now my body's like to that point where it's like, you're gonna rest. You don't have a choice. And then my brain's so like foggy and stuff that I don't even want to play video games or watch a show because I can't even focus. So I'm trying to find this ability to relax, and I've been meditating last 4 days, and I'm trying to take time to pray. And instead of like walking thousands of steps, tens of thousands of steps, which I'm still doing, but I'm trying to like find a spot and put a blanket out and just lay down and listen to meditations and prayers and stuff like that. And I feel like it could be very helpful. But so basically, all my problems right now is just extreme fatigue. And the other day when I felt a little bit better, and then I read about the adrenals, and I got really motivated because I had a lot of hope. I was like manic. I was like super happy. Even though I was tired, I accepted that. And that's all about surrender and acceptance. Accepting you have anxiety, accepting that you're sick, accepting it to make it go away, accepting you're in pain, not fighting it. And that's how I had that for the other day. I had that and I felt so much better, like mentally. Because just because you're tired or just because you're having this symptom doesn't mean you have to be anxious about it. You can accept it. So, all that being said, I'm focusing on trying to find a place to relax, but I'm also in the market again for a medication because I had really good effects from Lamictal. And I know a lot of you, probably a majority of you guys, oh no, don't take medication. And maybe you're right, but when you've lost so many years, and it's just at a certain point it's like, well, gotta try something, something else, just as a bridge. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the Lamictal again, because I didn't have like a whole lot of side effects. As far as like, I don't mind side effects, I just don't want mental side effects, like increased. Like, I don't want to be depersonalized. That's my biggest fear, is getting back to that state again. And honestly, if I don't treat my anxiety or find something to help with it a little bit, I'll end up back there. It's really hard to pull yourself back when you get down. So I'm thinking about Lamictal again, either that or Lexapro. I just want to take something that's going to help me not stress as much, because the stress is just as bad as the physical. Like the running, because I'm running, but I'm also stressing my mind too. So I'm stressing my body and my mind. So I'm looking for and when I took the Lamictal, I wasn't as reactive, I wasn't as angry. And then all of a sudden, like one day, I was sitting there after I upped it to 50 milligrams. And I started smiling, and I felt happy for the first time in like 5 years. Like, I felt happy, and then I started like waking up early, feeling motivated, and I had more energy. And at first it felt like I was anxious because I wasn't used to it. But I got through that, and I was nicer to my wife. I was able to accomplish a lot more. I was feeling, all of a sudden I was going to stores more, and the fog was lifting, and I felt like halfway back, or even 60-70% back, like honestly, which is enough for me. I could have just sat at that state and probably been good forever. I was content with that. But when I moved here and then I had that setback, I was blaming the Lamictal for all my problems. So I jumped off of it. And I didn't have any withdrawal. I mean, I didn't feel any different. Feel any negative symptoms. I mean, I went down to 25 for a week and then came off, and I'd been on it for like a year and 2-3 months. But I do think the Lamictal may have been causing some flu-like symptoms, but that could have just been me overworking, because at the time I was outside in the heat, running 20 miles, 10 miles, working until 9 o'clock at night, outside, just crazy shit. And it could have been the adrenals. I could have just been burning out, and then I was blaming it on the Lamictal. So, it might be worth a trial again, because I know I didn't have any withdrawal. I know that it made me happy before, and it might, now that I'm more, a little bit more stable here, maybe I can have some more. It'll give me a little bit of a boost. Just stop the mental chatter, the mental stuff, which ultimately would help me heal quicker. And a lot of people are like, oh no, meds make you sicker, but I'm very, very much of the mindset that besides benzos, if you take a medication as a bridge, in some scenarios, I'm talking like rare scenarios, like where, I'm not talking about like, these high school kids who are having minor anxiety, where they're like, I have some minor social anxiety, or I'm not getting along, whatever. I'm talking about crippling, non-functioning depression and anxiety, where you're just sitting there all day ruminating by yourself, so you'll never get better. There's no way, like, time isn't going to heal that. Time is not going to If you just sit there and depress all day and you don't do anything, and you're not going to get better. So, and the longer you go untreated from depression and anxiety, the more damage it can do. And it can be more damaging to have depression and anxiety, and this is truth. And truth I didn't believe years ago, but than a lot of medications can do to yourself. So depression and anxiety disorders are very damaging to your brain, because it's constantly, I'll give you an example. And imagine you have panic attacks, and you start going out and you're pushing yourself to go out, and every time you go somewhere you have a panic attack. You have a panic attack at the grocery store, you have a panic attack at Target, you have a panic attack at everywhere you go. Eventually you're just going to get worn down, and your brain's going to say, danger, danger, danger. Do not go there. Nope, remember what happened. Don't go there. Nope, remember last time that happened. So it's going to be trying to defend you. It's going to be trying to keep you safe by keeping you, by warning you that place triggered danger. Now, if you took something and then you stopped having panic attacks and you were able to start going places and feeling well, and if other things didn't work, right, within a certain window, because you'll start to box yourself in, and the deeper you go in that hole, the harder it is to get out of it. And I'm not a doctor or anything, and I'm just a guy who's been through everything you've been through and maybe more. Not trying to say I have it worse or anything, but it's been pretty rough. And I have had successes with a lot of stuff, but now it's just extreme fatigue, which is making my brain's like, oh, why are you so tired? Why are you so tired? Like, all the time. And also, who wants to do anything? Who wants to go to a party? Or you don't want to do anything if you're tired and feeling sick. So that causes depression. But just be mindful. If you're gonna take a medication, look into like what it's doing to you. Do not take a benzo if you can avoid it. And if you do take benzos, take them as needed, sparingly, not a daily thing. They're not a daily medication. Keep in mind, they're dulling your nervous system, just like all these meds. And I hope that at the end of the day that I'm medication free and feeling great, like the anxiety guy and all that stuff. But sometimes we need a little bridge, because then you start to form good memories. You start to go places and experience life again, and you start to have good experiences. So then your brain stops saying danger, danger. And then when you're stable and your brain is healed, then you come off of it and you deal with some withdrawal, like my sister did. And she's doing amazing now. She's an inspiration. I always judged her at 13 taking antidepressants, and then for 5 years she did really well. She had a life that she may not have had. And then she came off of it. She had 3 weeks of side effects or withdrawal, and now she feels great. She said she feels like a 7.5 on a 10 scale, and I'm like a 3. So I'm trying to get to just be a 5 or a 6. So anyway, so I'm considering that again, and it's giving me some hope because I did well with it before. But anyway, good luck to you guys. We all have our own fight, our own journey. But one other thing I'd like to say. I know it's true, but it's hard to do. It's like playing the victim and constantly feeling bad for yourself and constantly talking about it. Oh, it feels like it's helping because it's in your head and it's all you want to do is talk about. But it really just wears you down. I mean, you got to try to limit that, and I'm in that right now. I'm in that war, because when I started taking the Lamictal, I stopped talking about it. My wife loved it because we started being able to watch TV again together without me on the phone. We used to have conversations without me having to talk about this all the time. It was really great. So But I slid back into that routine, and I'm trying to navigate myself through it. Anyway, good luck, guys. I'll talk to you later.